It is time to talk about the GOAT of all the zodiac signs. See what I did there? Hola my beautiful lotus flowers, welcome back or welcome to my channel. If you're into nerdy now on everything astrology, spirituality, and self-transformation, this is the community for you. Today is all about the GOAT of all rising signs, Capricorn rising. And if you're not quite sure what a rising sign is, be sure you refer to my video on more details of the rising sign. But as a brief summary, your rising sign is where the sun was located at the time you were born, rising over the eastern horizon. Whereas your sun sign is where the sun was at in the sky, which constellation it was in at the time you were born. Your rising sign tells us more about how you tend to portray yourself to the world, kind of your first impression on people, and kind of your purpose, what you might chase in the world as well. Whereas your sun sign is more of your egotistical nature, and your moon sign is more of your emotional nature. We'll start off by talking about some of the general traits of a Capricorn rising sign. Then we'll go on to talk about some of the difficulties that a Capricorn rising may face and the strengths that a Capricorn rising may have in their life. As a bonus, we'll talk about a few Capricorn rising celebrities and how they portray these traits I talked about. Quick disclaimer, if you know for a fact that this is your rising sign, but you just don't seem to connect to it for some reason, be sure you're checking where the planetary ruler is at in your natal chart. So for example, if you have a Capricorn rising, the planetary ruler of Capricorn is Saturn. So be sure you're checking where Saturn is located in your natal chart, because the zodiac sign it's located in will heavily affect how you portray yourself as a Capricorn rising. First, it's important to note that Capricorn is the cardinal earth sign ruled by Saturn, symbolized by the goat. All of these things affect every Capricorn placement, but a Capricorn rising, sun, and moon will all display these traits differently. Having a rising sign ruled by Saturn will make these individuals highly motivated in the world and very self-disciplined in achieving their goals. If you don't know, Saturn tends to rule over tradition, structure, and limitations. So the way that this channels into a Capricorn rising is that when it comes to their goals in the world, they're going to be very self-disciplined. They're going to have laser sharp focus on their goals and have the discipline to get it done. Having that laser focus on their personal goals will tend to make them come off as a bit cold-shouldered or maybe a little intimidating towards other people, and they may not mean to be that way, but they concern themselves so much with the task at hand, what they need to get done, what they need to do in order to move forward towards their goals. Whereas other people might be focused on, petty things. A Capricorn rising doesn't really care to focus on those things. So people might see them as a bit standoffish. Capricorn risings may give off the impression of being rather put together, determined, and potentially bossy at times. Since Capricorn is the cardinal earth sign, cardinal means that there's kind of a natural leadership type ability to this person. With this rising sign specifically, the way that they channel that is when it comes to little petty unimportant conversations or topics of interest, they don't really tend to give any of that their time. They kind of just want to dive headfirst towards their goals and don't really care who they have to hurt or whatever to get there. I'm not saying they'll hurt the people they care about, but what I mean by that is that say they are in a workplace and they're very focused on climbing the hierarchy of the workplace and becoming the next president of the company. Well, a lot of other coworkers around them are probably gossiping, talking about what they did last night, making plans, and they're just very distracted from their goals, or maybe they don't have any goals. And a Capricorn rising doesn't tend to be this way. They want to charge ahead and take control of their lives and stay disciplined enough to become the company president. A lot of times this quality makes them seem like the mature, responsible one around their coworkers or around their friends or family, whoever it is that they're around. They tend to come off that way. They come off as somebody that everyone can rely on, or someone who is going to get things done or can take the lead and step up to the plate when needed. Whereas some people, this doesn't tend to come as naturally. For Capricorn risings, this usually does. Capricorn risings can be quite calculated, consistent, and very loyal. Having a rising sign that is in the earth element can make this person very well calculated, and they really prioritize planning things before they actually move forward with them. They tend to be very concerned with making sure that there's a sense of stability and security with every move that they make. They aren't the type to be really irrational and get so caught up or swept up by something that they just forget everything that they were focused on. They really will take in something, start to plan on it, and see whether it benefits them or doesn't, whether it's a waste of time or not, and then decide whether they're going to move forward with it. This tendency to plan and be very well calculated, as well as being ruled by the earth element, will translate into a lot of goals that have to do with gaining financial success, investing, having certain nice things, etc. Now, this isn't to be confused with being materialistic. They don't want the nice things. They don't want the money just to have it, just to flex on everybody. That's not the case at all with a Capricorn rising. Majority of the time, a Capricorn rising is just concerned with the security and stability that comes with those things. Not having a junky car to drive around in. They want to invest in a really nice, reliable luxury car because they know that there's a lot of security and longevity that comes with that car. It's not because they just want to roll around in a nice luxury car and impress everybody. It's literally just for their long-term success and long-term comfort. Being so concerned with that longevity, with the long term of everything around them, is also what makes them very loyal when it comes down to it, because whatever they dedicate to, they really thought about it. They really planned first. So if they actually dedicate to something, whether it's a plan, a person, a thing, a situation, then they're very loyal to it and they stay committed. Adding on to this earthly nature, the goat actually symbolizes this rising, slow but steady, persevering approach to the world around them. If you didn't know, Capricorns are symbolized by the goat, especially the mountain goat. The reason that they chose the goat is because the goat is seen as a survivor. I'm sure many of you have seen the pictures of the goats that are like somehow walking on these tiny little teeny like centimeter long ledges and climbing these mountains, and they do this as a way of life, and to us it looks so daunting, but these goats do it almost like no problem. It's just part of survival for them. And Capricorn placements tend to carry that same type of energy. They're known to be survivors, especially with a Capricorn rising. When it comes to whatever obstacles the world throws at them, they are going to try and find a way to overcome it. They are not the type to see an obstacle and immediately get discouraged or whatever. They are going to see it and be like, I accept that challenge. If anything, they kind of like challenges and they have the capacity to handle it, whereas a lot of people might crumble and break. Before we continue, if you're a Capricorn rising or know somebody who is, leave a comment down below or leave your rising sign if you're not a Capricorn rising, and please be sure that you are liking this video, hitting the subscribe button, and hitting the bell, because it helps me so much. Thank you. Now let's discuss some potential difficulties that someone with a Capricorn rising may face in life. Number one is that they must be careful not to approach life too cautiously and too disciplined. Although Capricorn risings have this amazing jaw-dropping tenacity to keep up their vision and go after their goals, they need to snap out of it every now and then in order to take care of themselves mentally and physically. Otherwise, it can become so easy for a Capricorn rising to become exhausted and burnt out by staying in their zone and never pulling over to the side of the road to take a break. And actually, one of the best ways for Capricorn risings to kind of ground themselves, I know that's ironic because they're an earth sign, but they can ground themselves again and stay in touch with themselves and refresh themselves by actually spending time in nature, whether it's hiking or going to a lake or whatever it may be. Nature is very essential to them. Number two, being overly concerned with safety and security can actually lead to stagnancy and staying in positions they're not truly happy with. Capricorn risings are one of the placements in the zodiac that have huge potential to reach massive material and financial success compared to other zodiac signs that might struggle a bit more for it. But if they become too focused on the security aspect of it rather than taking some risks for their entrepreneurial goals, for being their own boss, whatever it is that they want to do, then they may find themselves stuck in a position that they don't actually like, just because it makes them feel secure and it makes them feel stable. You can stay at this comfortable position or this job or whatever it is that makes you feel more stable, but put in the extra work in the evening or the days that you have off to work towards your ultimate long-term vision. Third is they must be wary of becoming a bit selfish and cold due to their ambition. Again, their ability to stay in the zone towards their dreams is incredible, but what they don't want to do, or what they may realize they're not doing sometimes, is losing a lot of things, people, and experiences that they really care about. Capricorn risings do care a lot about long-term success and long-term happiness for themselves and stability. They may not think at the time that they're doing anything wrong, and they think that they're doing this for their family or whatever it may be, but if they get too caught up in it and start neglecting those people that they love, that they say they're doing it for, and so on and so forth, then it's not going to end well for the Capricorn rising. Be sure, once again, that you are stopping yourself every now and then and snapping out of it to stay in touch with reality and stay in touch with the things that matter in the present moment, because you can sometimes lose sight of the present moment being so focused on your long-term goals. Now for some strengths that a Capricorn rising may have in life as well. Number 1, they're extremely loyal and dedicated to whatever and whoever they care about. This rising sign heavily values perseverance and is most concerned with the long-term vision, no matter what they're referring to, whether it's relationships or career. They're looking at the long-term part of it. This is a recipe for somebody who is willing to stick by and stay committed to the situation that they have found value in or they have dedicated to. They're not the type to give up easily, so this makes them an extremely loyal friend, family member, partner, and even coworker if you're in a business relationship with a Capricorn rising. Intertwining with their previous strength, their sense of determination and natural ability to be a survivor through almost anything brings with it a higher possibility of achieving huge amounts of success. But not only that, they don't suffer from shiny object syndrome like some other rising signs may. They really lock in on their target and go for it. Third is they strive to be as authentic and genuine as possible with everyone and everything around them. As the rising sign that's ruled by Saturn, which again is a planet of rules, tradition, structure, they don't tend to be very deceptive. I'm not saying it can't happen, because again, we're not talking about their other placements, but they honestly value authenticity with the way that they hold themselves and the way that others hold themselves as well, because they don't tend to be very gullible when it comes to people being real or authentic or honest with them. They like to ensure that whatever they say, do, or stand behind is authentic to them and who they are, and they expect the same from other people. Lastly, let's talk about some Capricorn rising celebrities and how they portray some of these traits. The first celebrity we have is Kylie Jenner. I chose Kylie Jenner. I like picking people from the Kardashian-Jenner family because everybody knows who they are. They're very public, so it's kind of easy to see how they portray some of these traits. When it comes to Kylie Jenner, when you kind of see her at first glance, upon first impression, she can seem very cold, withdrawn, and somewhat secretive, like many Capricorn risings may. They tend to have a sense of privacy about them, and they don't like putting all of their business on display for everybody. And Kylie Jenner definitely displays that. Not only that, but they tend to be known for having kind of an RBF. So she may not be rude or may not be a mean person, but Capricorn risings have a no bullshit type of face. She became the richest from the Kardashian family at a very young age. I believe it was by the time she was like 21. She was a billionaire, which is insane. And, you know, obviously, you could say that she had a little help monetarily to start off and be on a path to success, but to do it so young is incredible, and that definitely is hugely attributed to her Capricorn rising placement. The second celebrity we have is John Legend. John Legend definitely tends to give off a very mature, put together, professional, yet a little mysterious type of vibe. This definitely helped out him being elected as the sexiest man alive at one point by People magazine. And an article quote that I have from yahoo.com is, and though most assume Legend is an over-the-top romantic, the Entertainer says that his #1 priority as a husband is being a rock for Tegan, which is his wife, if you don't know. And that is the most Cap rising thing that he could have said, is that he focuses on being a rock for the person that he loves and the person that he has dedicated his life to. The third celebrity we have is Ariana Grande. It goes without saying that she definitely carries herself with this natural like boss bitch type of attitude and expression, and that's just kind of the energy she tends to give off to people. But despite this kind of cold-shouldered expression and air that she can have, she shows a lot of concern for maintaining an authentic presence by openly standing up for things that she believes in as a philanthropist, but this also shows in her music. So I remember reading that her first attempt at having a solo music career, she released something she thought the public wanted to hear, which was like a very like bubblegum pop song, and people didn't receive it well. They didn't really care for it. So she immediately went back to her roots and what she likes in music and started creating R&B music, more soulful music, if you will. So once she did that, people received it really well, and that was her showcasing her authenticity to the world. On top of that, the mass popularity she has gained as a pop queen of the modern day is crazy. She actually is the top female on Instagram for Instagram followers, which is insane. I believe she was the first female celebrity to reach like 200 million followers on Instagram or something like that. So enough said. Once again, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure that you're leaving a comment, liking, subscribing, and hitting the bell to help me out. And you can also hop over to the LaBlue Lotus Facebook community, where we talk more about astrology, spirituality, and self-transformation. But if you also want more personal posts from me, you can head over to my Instagram at Marisa LaBlue, where I post personal stuff as well as astrology and spirituality content. I am excited to see you guys in the next video. Thank you again so much for watching. Adios!